Good evening or good day whenever you're watching this. We're over here at MTG Finance on Reddit, the all things Magic the Gathering financial discussion. We've got some fun stuff to go over today. Double Masters is coming out. If you're not an investor, we're going to kick things off with the best time to buy these singles if you're just looking to acquire the cards. We're going to talk about variants and showcase cards in general moving forward. Stained glass planeswalkers appear to be dropping. We're going to talk about that. And make sure to stick around to the end of the video. We're going to talk a lot about Double Masters. It's on everybody's mind. We're going to have a lot of emphasis on VIP, all of that and more on this episode of Market the Gathering. The video starts right now.
Special thanks to our Patreon supporters who power our channel. Check out our Patreon for monthly giveaways, exclusive content, and even a starring role in our fan fight series. Link in the description below.
Hello and welcome to the day. Thank you for spending your time with us. I'm Jake. Welcome back to another episode of Jake and Joel are Magic. Today we got a lot to talk about. We're going to be talking about Double Masters moving forward. We're going to talk about all of these variants moving forward and why the reserve list continues to go up. We're going to talk about stained glass planeswalkers, full art cards. If you're not into the finance thing, you're just here to figure out a good time to buy Double Masters cards as they start coming out, you're in the right place as well. We're going to talk a lot about VIP today. We have seen every single box topper extended art showcase card at this point. We have a very good idea of what the heat is in Double Masters and what isn't. If you like these financial discussions, I encourage you to click like, click subscribe. It's the best way to support the channel. It tells me that you like these videos, you want me to continue making them. If you are so compelled and you do like the channel, check us out on Patreon. It might be a good fit for you. There's exclusive content. You get access to our Discord. Check it out. There's a lot to talk about, so let's get it going. I want to kick things off with this: when to buy Double Masters singles for non-investors. I've been looking at Double Masters cards in Cyclonic Rift. Went up to $2. It was $19 and changed yesterday. It's at $22.69. I want to buy other cards as well, but it feels like they're going to go back up before the set releases. Should I buy now or wait until release? This is clearly somebody who's new, and that's okay. I like to go through MTG Finance. This subreddit has a lot of noise, and I like to pick out the things that I think are important to talk about. I know some people are like, oh, he's just reading the internet. I think it takes experience in being able to sort out what is important and what is a waste of time. And I think this is an important topic, so we're going to highlight it. These cards are going to go down in price. I'm telling you straight up what's going on with variants, and we're going to talk about variants, showcase cards, masterpieces. This big change started off as expeditions, became masterpieces, became invocations, and it has since erupted into a slew of different variants. There are tons of them. But what we're noticing is that like a showcase Cyclonic Rift foil is going to have a premium over the regular set Cyclonic Rift. So I'm going to tell you, just based on my experience before we read some of these comments, that these singles, these regular singles, are going to plummet in price. There's going to be an epic crap ton of this product opened. And there's going to be a lot of people that are trying to recoup value on their investment. They're going to sell back the cards that they don't need. They're going to keep the cards that they want for decks. And so you're going to be able to acquire singles at a very, very cheap price. And in my experience, it will be about 3 weeks, like 2 to 3 weeks to a month after the set comes out. You're going to have tons of it opened, and there's going to be a huge chunk of inventory on the market. And so you're going to have a lot of people that are undercutting each other. So I would say if you're here trying to figure out the best time to buy singles, yeah, here we go. If you miss the window for non-staples and others, check prices about 2 to 4 weeks after the release. So exactly what I'm saying. We don't need to spend a lot of time on this. I'm going to put all the Reddit articles in the description of the video if you want to check them out. Let's go ahead and move on, and this is also in the spirit of showcase variants. This person is asking, and this is a post with 0 upvotes, you know, people aren't really talking about it, but I still think it's important to talk about for new players. Foil borderless alternate art cultivate, always in the top played EDH rec for almost any time period. Alright, then they have an EDH rec. An affordable pimp card at 5 to 15. Probably a lower print run due to being a core set and Corona. Commander is the trend and the trend is your friend. I mean, I do agree with that. Commander's the trend and the trend is your friend. Price target 20 to 25. Entry now 5 to 8 depending on where you shop. Alternate art borderless foil and collector boxes by definition offer a lot of reprint resistance. Cons. Alright, so those were the pros, these are the cons. I really can think of any right now at $5 a card. Maybe some weakness if money runs out of economy due to EDD cuts. I don't know, such a low price for a commander staple. Essentially what this comes down to, this guy's talking about is foil borderless cultivate. Is it good to get in? And the way that I feel about this is, and this is the reason why we're seeing such a spike in reserve list cards, is that you have so many variants coming out now. And yes, Cultivate's a great card, 100%, but we have so many of these new variants, and these cards that aren't on the reserve list, they can be reprinted any number of times. There's no limit to the number of times cards like Cultivate can be reprinted. So let's see what people had to say about this. Potential value of the card at $5 or so, it currently costs 10 times or so the cheaper non-foil, non-showcased versions. Those versions get printed all the time. This is again what I'm talking about, and easily will fill the rosters of most EDH decks wanting this card, meaning there's a massive supply of this card for players who do not care about the bling, or for players who are on the fence about spending so much on a card they can easily get for much less. That's what it comes down to. Like, scarcity is just so important, and I feel like people forget about scarcity. Like, Cultivate, excellent card. Is the new full art foil beautiful? Yes, it is, but some people just want cards to play with. They just want a legal version of the card. So Cultivate is cheap. You can get it for under $1. You don't need to pay a premium. And this topic is also in the same vein of what we're talking about next, which is stained glass planeswalkers are crashing. And this does have more upvotes, but I think this is important to note because, again, this is a set of cards with no limit on the amount of times they can be reprinted. So when you're saying, like, oh my gosh, the stained glass planeswalkers are crashing, do you think it has anything to do with the fact that they could be in any secret layer to come out in the near future? That they never said, hey, this is going to be a limited run on these stained glass planeswalkers and eventually we're going to stop? Do you think it has anything to do with the fact that standard is rotating? I mean, people haven't been playing paper for a long time. Like Teferi, great card. It's going to go live on in Pioneer, in Modern, in Legacy, and it's going to torment all of those formats. A lot of these cards are moving out of the limelight. Post says, since the last time I checked a week or so ago, Nicol Bolas has fallen 15, Chandra is down 10, Nissa is down 20, due to GZ, that's the Godzilla secret layer, the lands. Ashiok is down to 8, Liliana is down 10 plus. Yeah, and I'm not surprised by this. These stained glass planeswalkers are beautiful cards. I do not contest that. They're great for cube, they're great for decks, but again, there's no limit on these cards to the amount they can be reprinted. So if a new set comes out, a secret layer Teferi, you bet your butt that Teferi is going to be the secret layer stained glass planeswalker that comes in the Teferi themed secret layer. It just makes sense. So now all of a sudden, yes, stained glass Teferi, which let's go ahead and take a look at it. I didn't expect to come over to MTG stocks, but we can talk about this really quick. All right, so let's take a look at the secret layer series. Teferi, stained glass, all-time high. It came out at $187. I do remember on eBay seeing these sell for over $100 in completed listings. I wish I had taken screenshots because at this point that market data is probably gone. Alright, so we're at buy it now, price plus shipping lowest first. These are completed listings. And let's see what the highest eBay has here. Like 54. Okay, so this is on May 9th, 2020. So all of the market data before this is gone. I cannot access it. But I do remember when this card came out, it sold at very high prices, which is what we're looking at here. When the card originally came out, let's go ahead and highlight this specific part of the graph so that you can see it. This was when it first debuted. It came out and it was just like, but days, just day, it just tanked. And this is what normally happens. So it was at 90 for a while and it hovered around there. But then when more secret layers and the frequency of secret layers came out, you can see the card begins to dip. It starts to slowly decline. And then also you have to think about the amount of time that Teferi has been in standard at this point. So now the card sits at, the market price is around $39. But like I was saying, if a set were to come out that had Teferi Time Raveler in it, or if a secret layer were to come out that was themed around Teferi in any way, then the obvious go-to is to put Teferi into that secret layer. So what would that do to the price of the card? Well, let's look at the current lowest price of a regular Teferi Time Raveler. So you can see it's as low as $12. This is sponsored, so don't look at it. Also sponsored. Here it's as low as $13.99, $13.70. Now, the stained glass foil is for sure going to hold a premium to this card, and this card is eternal. It is played in multiple eternal formats. It's very good. It's very oppressive. It's the kind of card that, you know, people have complained about it needing to be banned, but it doesn't really seem like it's going to be banned. The card has been played for a while and appears to be fair. But this is just something to think about moving forward, thinking about stained glass planeswalkers, thinking about variants, thinking about showcase cards, thinking about masterpieces and expeditions. And I do believe there's a difference between the box toppers that are post-Ultimate Masters. All of the showcase cards that have come out in recent time, all of the collector's editions, Theros Beyond Death, Ikoria, Chord 2021, Throne of Eldraine. Whereas when I was buying War of the Spark Mythic Edition, which had this blinging showcase Jace the Mind Sculptor, I was thinking, oh my gosh, we're buying into some sort of like high-end top-tier product, when really it was just the beginning of this new era, this new level of rarity. I want you to stay tuned, and if you are interested in showcase variants and the history of those, make sure to stick around because we're going to be crafting a video around that as well, just talking about showcase cards moving forward and just kind of like educating new players. So what's going on with this? Why are cards like the Stained Glass Planeswalkers starting to crash? Well, it has a lot to do with the fact that people are just now getting their Theros Beyond Death. People are talking about that. There's been a big delay on the Theros God Secret Lair. All of those have been delayed, so a lot of people are opening, so there's more product on the market. But also, as a collector, the way that I'm feeling, the way that I've expressed to you about my lack of confidence in all of these like variants moving forward, anything that's like a jank, like bulk rare extended art foil, like nobody cares about that. So the card has to be good. It has to be like Showcase Force of Will that's coming out. It has to be like that level of playability. It has to be an actually pimp card, because I have no faith in that moving forward, which is why we're seeing stuff like, we'll go back over here, and we talked about this in the last video, but I think it's important that we continue talking about it, but just like a reserve list staple like Gaia's Cradle, which has now continued to move. The market goes up. The last time I talked about Cradle, it was on its way. I believe that video was on the 16th of July. Anyway, Cradle now doing some really crazy stuff since May, is now on the rise. It has broken $500. It continues to climb, and we're seeing a lot more people take interest in reserve list cards instead of the old masterpieces and stuff. You know, we talk about the masterpieces all the time. And so you have people that, let's take a look at this. So now you have, here's the masterpiece Mana Crypt, for example, which you can see it's done some crazy stuff. It's got as high as like 443 here, but now you see it's come back down. And I was talking about this as well, because these cards came out before all of these new variants, this huge influx of variants came out. So you had a lot of people that were starting to view cards like this as like the new like reserve list kind of card. And I think that whole notion has kind of went out the window. People are no longer looking at these as like super duper special. I still think that they're better than the new variants because they're like kind of like the OG versions of these cards, and these masterpieces, like people love them. They're beautiful cards. But people realize now that with all the blinging that is going on and the oversaturation of new variants coming out, like stuff like this, which has had huge appeal in the past, I think is going to kind of be overlooked, and I think people are going to start looking at reserve list cards like Gaia's Cradle that we've been talking about, Survival of the Fittest, just EDH staples that are reserve lists, Wheel of Fortune, Lion's Eye Diamond, Mox Diamond, just like all that kind of stuff that just, it appeals to high-end competitive EDH players. And even though this does too, like this is rare. Nobody's gonna reprint this Mana Crypt, in my opinion. I couldn't see them reprinting masterpieces. I think that would just be silly. So this card isn't going to tank in price, but I'm just talking about how we see Mana Crypt being reprinted again in Double Masters. It's getting a new variant. Here it is, right here. So now you have this mana crypt that's going to compete with the other mana crypt. In my opinion, it's not going to compete with the other mana crypt as far as which one I think is more beautiful. But I'm just saying, like, there will be variant after variant after variant of mana crypt. That will not happen with cards like Gaia's Cradle, Gilded Drake, all of these EDH staples that we see spiking. Alright, now we have a couple fun things to talk about. I did this video a little while ago. We're going to talk about Double Masters now. Double Masters is about to come out. We have two different products, which are the regular boxes and this special VIP edition, which is the only spot where you can get the showcase foils. That's the big thing that you need to know about the difference between these products, is the showcase full art cards are only going to appear in foil in VIP edition. You may be bummed about that. You may think that's greedy. I have opinions on it as well. It is what it is. It's what they did. So if you want to pull that beautiful Force of Will or that Mana Crypt that I just showed you, and you want it to be foil, the only place you're going to find that is in this product. I do a review of this product. If you want to check that out, I will put it in the cards. But what we're going to highlight, what we're going to talk about now, is this top comment that I pinned here by Alex. And what Alex says here is, I agree with the review. I did some reasoning for box toppers excluding anything else and decided to purchase a few of these. It looks like there will be 8 commons and uncommons upgraded to rare, 16 mythic assumed. We do know now that there are a total of 40 box toppers. 20 of them are mythic, 20 of them are rare. Alright, so he breaks this down essentially, and you can come in here and you can read it yourself, but what it comes down to is this. One mythic box topper should average most of the cost of the pack. So that means that if you're buying VIP edition and you're buying a pack and you pull a foil mythic, and we're going to compare these mythics here in a second. We're going to go and compare this set to another set, but if you pull the mythic foil in your VIP edition, most likely it's going to cover the price of the pack. Because the thing is, and what Alex here says is, people fail to realize that although the rares are 2 times more frequent, which Wizards of the Coast has confirmed, you also have twice the slots. This basically evens it out to a coin flip each pack for a high-end box topper mythic. If the 2 slots are looked at as independent events, there's a slightly different calculation below, but it ends up being a coin flip. 44% you get at least a mythic, and 56% you don't. The comments are, so it's gambling after all. I mean, what do you think it is? However, when we look at this list, and I want to go look at the list here, I have this sorted. We're not even going to look at the rares right now. I just want to look at the mythics. Okay? This is the mythic list. These are the only mythics in Double Masters. They have all been spoiled. We know what they all are. And none of them, with the exception of one, in my opinion, is a card that I would hate to pull in a foil variant. Unlike other Master sets, there are no mythics in here that are completely awful. Look at all of these cards. I'm looking at swords, I'm looking at Batterskull. Like, Sword of Body and Mind is a little bit lower end, but again, you can't complain about a foil showcase sword. The only mythic that I would hate to open in foil is Sneak Attack, and even then, it's not that bad. What you're looking at here is Modern Masters 2017. These are the mythics, okay? So in Modern Masters 2017, this is a set that is renowned for having a really, really nice stacked list of cards. It had all the enemy fetch lands that were originally printed in Zendikar. It had powerful cards that you're looking at right now, like Cavern of Souls, Liliana of the Veil, Snapcaster Mage, Tarmogoyf. The list goes on. It's a great list of cards that were in this set, but even in this set, which is renowned for being awesome, you get past the high-end mythics, and these are the mythics. And this is that are cheap. These are the mythics that are cheap. So what is the big difference in this product and Double Masters? Double Masters does not have awful mythics. Entreat the Angels. Would that be awful to open in Double Masters? Yes. Bonfire of the Damned. Domri Raid. Look at how cheap these cards are. With all of that in mind, we did have someone over here who broke down a simulated Double Masters and VIP openings with statistics. Again, I encourage you to go to the description of the video. I want you to check this out, because on eBay, you can still get these packs for $85 a pack. We know all of the mythics. We know all of the rares. Let's look really quickly at the rares, because I do think that this is something that is is worth noting as well. We go here, Double Masters box toppers. And now let's just look at the rares. We've looked at the mythics, but now let's sort by rares. And it looks like one is missing. And I don't really want you to pay a lot of attention to the prices here on the side because Card Kingdom is going to have a little bit of inflated prices. But I do like how easy it is to just kind of glide through these. A lot of the rares and a lot of these cards are uncommon that have been upshifted to rare. And the way it's being justified is that now because it's in a showcase frame, it is now rare. It's getting a rare treatment. It's getting a upshift in rarity. So cards like Crop Rotation and Fatal Push and Expedition Map, these are cards that are known for being uncommon or common. These are the kind of cards that are going to be opened in foil that I would expect are probably going to drop. But people keep forgetting that there is essentially a coin flip that you're going to open a mythic foil. The VIP boosters come with 2 guaranteed foil showcase cards that you cannot find in any other Double Masters product, and 2 guaranteed foil rares or mythics that are just going to come out of the base set. It is a dice roll, it is a coin flip, it is gambling. I'm not going to lie about that. When you have cards that have such high prices, now could you open an Expedition Map and a Crop Rotation? Sure. And then could you open 2 bad foil rares? Sure. So what you need to know about these graphs is that the x-axis is money, the y-axis is number of packs or cases opened. Okay, so the cost of a case, what you need to know is about $1,300. Here are a bunch of cases so a case is about $1,400. So what you're looking at here is essentially 1,000 VIP cases. Those cases are about $1,400. And what this is based on pre-sale prices. So just keep in mind that pre-sale prices are going to go down. A lot of these cards are going to drop in price. But what this person deduced off of this simulator and off of this simulation is that the average case came out to $2,924.06. This is in US dollars. They talk about that in the post. The standard deviation is $345.59. The max came out to $4,310, meaning $4,310, which means that somebody who cracked a case, in theory, in this simulation, that they bought for $1,400 would have opened $4,300 in value. This is, again, based on pre-sale prices, meaning a lot of those prices would go down and are continuing to go down currently. However, that would be like a god box. The minimum was $2,120, meaning that if you bought in for $1,400 and opened absolutely horribly, you still would have made about $600 or $700 in profit. And that profit obviously would need to be adjusted down for the time it would take to sell all the singles, the fees you would have to deal with. But that would be like rolling a D20 and hitting a natural 1 and just doing as terribly as you possibly could. And this again is initial data, and I'm sure it's not all perfect, but this does have 300 upvotes. It has a lot of comments. This person put a lot of time in. I want you to take a look at it, but essentially here's the takeaways. And again, all of this is in the description of the video if you want to check it out. If it's something that you're interested in, I encourage you to do so. Single VIP packs are very much a gamble. Distribution has a long tail due to chase cards. About 5% of the packs will net several $100s. Cases are closer to normally distributed. This is what I was already saying. Showcases are falling fast, about $5 each per day. Pack foils are more stable. I currently have the VIP showcase slot at $76 estimated value and the regular foil rare at $15 estimated value. This is per slot, so you double those to get the $180 average from above. Non-foil rares and mythics will go down a lot due to Double Masters EV being so high, with the box toppers adding a large chunk of value to the box. They say they're going to redo this in a few days to update the changes in prices, but essentially this is just something that I think people need to consider, because I know you're watching videos that are people talking about how this product is a ripoff, and I think we're going to start to see, some people just open insane packs, and it is a lottery. But again, and I said this in the previous video, that I do think it's worth it at about an $85 entry fee. Buy it now. Price plus shipping lows first on eBay. Double Masters VIP. I think there's a lot of potential for these to hit, and if you sell early, and I do mean like keep the cards that you want to play with, but get rid of the cards early that you don't want to keep, that you're not interested in playing in decks. Get some of the money back, and then you're going to have a card that you keep that might go up in value in the long term. If you get one of the big heavy hitters and you sell the rest of the stuff, you recoup the value. Or, I mean, you could open poorly. You could open, I guess, the crop rotation and the expedition map. But even then, you know, at $85, I still think the gamble's worth it, at least for me. And that is just my opinion. Now, if this were $120 or $150, I wouldn't be saying that to you. I wouldn't be saying, yeah, get in at 120, man. Do it. But if we start to see these opened and then all of a sudden it's like, wow, I haven't seen a bad Double Masters VIP pack, we might see them go up. Well, I know that's a lot to talk about. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Double Masters is coming out. It's right around the corner. Are you excited about it? I wish that we could be playing it in limited. I know that some places may be, but in my area, it doesn't seem like that's going to be a thing. Let me know what you think in the comments. I do my best to respond as vigilantly as possible. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Market the Gathering. We got Double Masters coming out. It's about to get wild. Catch you later.